I'm here with the mayor of Walnut Creek, Cindy Silva. Cindy, thank you very much for taking the time for us today.
I'm happy to be here.
Now, you recently gave the first State of the City address that was free to the public, right?
That's correct.
Can you give us a sense about how the city's doing?
Absolutely. Well, first, let's just start by saying that Walnut Creek residents overwhelmingly love Walnut Creek. And in fact, last year we did a survey of just over 700 residents, and they told us this when we asked them, give us your description of the overall quality of life in Walnut Creek. 96% of us said that Walnut Creek is excellent or good in that arena, and that was applicable to a range of questions that we asked, from community safety to how do we like our parks and our libraries and other services. So we really love Walnut Creek. On another note, the economy is coming back. We're seeing good signs of life there. Walnut Creek's unemployment rate is just 5.5%, which in comparison to the state at 9.7% is excellent. We're seeing some of those empty storefronts in our downtown and our neighborhood shopping centers fill up. And we're also seeing a resurgence of the housing industry, so that's good as well.
Yeah, well, with the upswing in the economy, there's quite a few construction projects that people can see when they're just driving around, right?
That's right.
Can you give us a sense of kind of what developments that people can expect to see?
Well, we're seeing a wide variety of projects, everything from small mom and pop businesses to larger shopping centers. Take downtown, for example. There is a new bridal store that's being built right at the corner of North Broadway and Cypress. And then, of course, there's Broadway Plaza, which is restarting its conversations with us about expanding and renovating the center. Then out in the neighborhoods, in our neighborhood shopping centers, we're seeing a lot of improvements. Probably the best one is Geary Marketplace, which opened this last fall. That's at the site of the old Co-op grocery store. And that whole northwest corner of Walnut Creek now has a new grocery store, Sprouts Market, in that center.
Not to mention good cheeseburgers.
Ah, yes, at the Habit Grill. Then if you go out Ignacio to Oak Grove, that's Encina Grande Shopping Center, that's about 40 or 50 years old, and they're underway on a major facelift and improvements.
You mentioned housing. There's quite a few projects coming up. Can you tell me about some of them?
Sure, we have a number of housing projects that we say are in our pipeline. Most of them are multi-family housing projects, like the condominiums that are going in at Newell and South Main Street, where the old 10-story office building came down this last November and December. And then we have apartments that are going up on Civic Drive, just north of Ignacio Valley Road, where the former headquarters of Long's Drugs was located. So most of the projects that we're actually seeing in the future are like that. They're multifamily, they're what we call vertical, and they're downtown, as opposed to being out in our more traditional single-family neighborhoods.
And Walnut Creek, so as you say, is certainly changing and growing. How can we continue to keep our community safe?
Well, first of all, let me say we're very fortunate because we have an exceptional police department, and because of their work in the community, our crime levels have actually decreased significantly in recent years. In fact, our crime rates are down about 30% for our major crimes since 2005. But the real question is, how are we going to maintain this low crime rate and continue to have a safe community as things change in the community? The first thing I want to remind everyone is that the City Council approved 2 additional police positions to be added to the force in the next 2 years. And we've also authorized the chief to do what we call overhiring of 4 positions, which allows us to address issues of retirement as it takes place or injuries that might occur.
Aside from being a safe community, Walnut Creek, of course, is known for its plethora of cultural opportunities, things to do outside, and that's not going to change, right?
Well, exactly. In fact, it's often said that we're more than a simple bedroom community. We are a community that pays attention to things like the recreational and cultural and educational and social aspects of our lives. And that's why we love living in Walnut Creek. You know, 94% of us last year in that survey said that we've used the parks and the open space in the last year. And I think all of us ended up in the swimming pool at some point because the swimming pools had 325,000 swims. So go figure on that. But it's, and we're really focused on many of our recreation facilities. because they are so important to the community, and we're spending some focused effort on those this year because many of them were built in the 1960s and in the early 1970s when Walnut Creek was really growing, and now these facilities are aging and they need to be replaced and updated, like the clubhouse at Boundary Oak Golf Course or our swimming pools. But the challenge with something like that is, as these facilities age, where do the funds come from in order to replace them and update them? So we're using restricted park funds, funds that can only be used for recreation facilities, to help us update these. But unfortunately, we don't have enough of those funds, and we will be looking for additional funding for that over the coming years.
Now, what about the arts and cultural activities? They are still as popular as they once were, correct?
Absolutely. The Leisure Center is probably at the heart of our arts and culture and hosted about 850 programs last year, totaling about 200,000 ticket sales.
Wow.
And our civic arts education programs continue to be the most popular in Northern California, serving about 7,000 students, ages 2 to 92, as they say. And in fact, the arts are more than just entertainment in our community. They're a true economic force. The Americans for the Arts did a study last year, again in Walnut Creek, and found that the nonprofit arts and culture is a $32.5 million industry in Walnut Creek.
Wow.
And that's over and above the price of tickets. And in addition, about 30% of the visitors that go to the Leisure Center are from outside of Contra Costa County. So the Leisure Center is a tourist magnet. Go figure.
Who knew?
Exactly.
You did. Now, we're actually sitting in our beautiful downtown Walnut Creek Library.
That's right.
What can you tell us about the libraries?
Well, our libraries, there are two of them, the Walnut Creek one here in downtown and the Ignacio Valley Library, are probably the most important community services that we have. 78% of us say that we use our libraries each year. And this library where we're sitting today, it is Sunday, so it's not open to the public, actually has 1,500 visitors per day.
Wow.
And the two libraries have 375,000 visits each year. But we've got an interesting challenge. In 2002, local voters approved a tax measure called Measure Q that provided special funding for additional library hours and consistent library hours. But there was a sunset on that tax measure, and those funds will run out in probably 18 months. So it's a major question for both the City Council and the community. How are we going to continue to provide for these consistent additional hours here at our libraries?
Well, that brings me to my next question, is what other fiscal challenges does the city face?
Well, let me start by saying we are fiscally sound.
Good.
We have a balanced two-year budget. We have no general fund debt. And our reserves include nearly $10 million just for emergencies. But looking out over the long term, in addition to questions about the funding for our libraries, it is clear that the fiscal lines are going to cross again, and they will cross in the near term. It's a combination of things that lead to that. Our tax revenues are still well below pre-recession levels. Our operating costs continue to rise faster than our revenues because of external forces like healthcare costs, fuel costs, and pension liabilities. And we have aging facilities that we need to take care of, like I mentioned earlier, but it also includes our roads and just our buildings and our sidewalks and our storm drains. And finally, issues like the special funding for the library and things like that. So that is why we're calling fiscal sustainability a major focus of the City Council in the next 2 years. And we're really asking ourselves the question, how can we continue to meet the needs of the community and provide the services that make Walnut Creek the place we all want to live in a fiscally sustainable way?
Let's talk about what else is coming up down the line in the next year or so.
Okay. Well, I think I want to point out three things besides all the things we've talked about. First, our third Community Service Day is set for Saturday, September 28th. Last year we had 45 projects and 1,200 volunteers, and we expect it to be even better this year. Second, we're doing a special program this year called Second Saturday Spotlight. I brought you one of these cards.
Oh, thank you.
So you can have it.
Good.
It's a program where I'm inviting the community to join me in a behind-the-scenes exploration of what's great about Walnut Creek. We'll visit a different place each month Next month in March, we're visiting the corporation yard where we deploy the trucks and crews that take care of everything from our roads to our parks to our parking meters. We're going to get behind the scenes at the Lesher Center, behind the scenes at the Lindsay Museum Hospital, and a variety of other places. And you can check it out on our website and look for Second Saturday Spotlight. And third, I just want to let everybody know that planning is underway for 2014, which will be the year of Walnut Creek's centennial celebration. So stay tuned for details on that.
So how can people watching this stay connected to what's going on in Walnut Creek?
Oh, there's lots of ways. I would say the first way is don't forget to read your Nutshell newsletter. It comes out each quarter and it goes to everybody's home. It has lots of information in it. You can watch us on Walnut Creek TV, which is broadcast on all 3 local cable providers. You can come down to City Hall and come to one of our meetings, first and third Tuesdays of each month. And if you can check us information out on our website, walnut-creek.org, or you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter or on YouTube. And if you really want to talk to a city council member, come down to Sunday's Farmers Market on Locust Street, because we have a council booth and one of us is usually there on Sundays.
That's one of my favorite things that you guys do in order to be able to meet and greet the nice people when they're buying their tomatoes. They can come meet Mayor Cindy Silva herself. Thanks very much for all this information, Mayor Silva.
Thank you, Brendan.